Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We've spent an awful lot of time talking about pensions over the last few days, over the last few weeks, months, over the last few years, and no one denies that it's a problem. So why haven't we done anything? Well, there's two reasons to take action: the impetus, the motivation, the passing of legislation for reform, for positive change for this Commonwealth. We can do it either because of the emotion and outrage, or we can do it because we're managing by the numbers. And I like the numbers. I want to talk about the numbers, the common sense, the rationale for passing Senate Bill 1. It's bad. It's so bad that I'm relatively sure that at some point in time it's going to get better, because at this point in time, with these budgets that we're going through, it is unsustainable. And here's how bad it is. We talk about education funding in this chamber all the time. We talk about underfunding since the loss of federal stimulus money in the 2011 budget, and we talk about restoring cuts. Now, to be fair, we really talk about restoring federal cuts with Pennsylvania tax dollars. So we lose $1 billion of federal stimulus money, and we want to make it up. It's not that easy just to make up $1 billion. $1 billion is 1,000 million. And you don't just snap your fingers and make up $1 billion. But here's what makes it so much more difficult. In 2010, our state payment to the pension systems was $536 million. In 2011, that payment went to $762 million, an increase of $225 million in that year. 2012, the payment rose another $330 million, and in 2013, the total payment was $1.5 billion. 2014, another $400 million. In this year's budget, we'll be spending over $1.8 billion more tax dollars than we did in 2010 on pension costs. But we're not finished. In fact, we're certain that before it gets better, it's going to get worse. If we stay on track in the next 2 years, the cost will be another $690 million. So we lose $1 billion in federal stimulus money that was going to education, and we do what we heard time and time again from almost every group, and that's don't kick the can down the road. Pay what you have promised, and we will pay what we have promised to the tune of $2.5 billion more than we were paying 5 years ago. Those are the numbers. Now here's the outrage. Students, we have larger class sizes. Teachers, we have less teachers. Education, we have eliminated curriculum that is applicable to what students will be doing in their futures. You know, we start talking, then we start screaming about education around here, and we almost come to fisticuffs. And the question becomes, what do we do? And today we have an opportunity to do something. We don't do nothing. Can anybody in this chamber, in good conscience, vote against reform in a system that is crushing education in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania? Do we prolong contentious, controversial, and painful budgets? Do we sit back and watch while 1/3 or more of our school districts get exceptions to raise property taxes higher and higher? I know what property taxpayers say. No way, no thanks. Some say I can't possibly afford it, and many can't. It's only going to start getting better when we manage by the numbers and we do what's right for everyone in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. It's simple. You have a huge debt. You need to take action. We've got the fiscal note now. It's hot off the press. It estimates that this Senate Bill 1 will save taxpayers of the Commonwealth more than $10 billion. We don't get an opportunity to vote for a $10 billion tax saving every day, and we need to do it here now. The principles are simple. Senate Bill 1 lowers costs. It starts to shift the risk of this ever happening again out of the hands of this legislature because government has proven that it can't handle it. It puts us in a position to pay what we owed. It provides future employees with a great benefit, one that will be difficult to find in the private sector. You talk about attracting and hiring and keeping great employees, but under our current plan, you're forcing them to put between 6 and 8% of their salaries into a plan that is $55 billion in debt. Give them a break. Pay them at least some of their benefits at the time that they earn it. Our promise to pay them 30 years from now is a joke. Just take a look at our track record. These are the numbers. There's a $3.5 billion swing between loss of stimulus money and this pension crisis. And here's the outrage. That money should be going to education. It should be going to law enforcement and public safety. It should be going to our most vulnerable citizens or back in the pockets of our taxpayers. Vote to get out of this mess sooner. Vote to make positive change, positive reform that will help to save the future of this Commonwealth. Please, I urge you, vote yes to Senate Bill 1.